What's on your agenda, Morgan? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I didn't
What
even
are you
recognize that it
navigating,
was
Morgan?
that you said it different. First of all, what I would like to address before we get into this episode is last episode when I was watching the playback, I was like, you misgendered Deshaun like 50, 11 times. So I was like, no. When I first introduced them the book, I said their pronouns correctly, and then I switched to misgendering them, and their pronouns are they them. And or the last time I checked they were. So I wanted to make sure I corrected that. And I think this also speaks to y'all literally watching us or watching me and us navigate through our ethic. And I never want to cause anybody hurt or harm. So I just wanted to correct that. So that's partially what I'm navigating. What else am I navigating? I like my haircut now. I'm not feeling like study shit anymore. And I have gone on like 3 runs. So the haircut worked. No, I'm just playing. No, partially. um, and it feels really good outside, even though it's like raining cats and dogs now. But it was like 80 degrees here, and this is my season. So I'm really excited. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I do feel like I probably took on too much in this season. Because I just realized I have a meeting for an organization I'm a part of later. And I was like, dang, I just really want to watch TV. But I'm also about to have my period, so it's also that time of the month, and I'm just like draining. My my battery is draining out of my body. So yeah. What are you navigating right now?
I must come on my period next week too. Maybe in the next. That's interesting. Wow. But anyway, what am I navigating? Interestingly, I feel like I almost took on too much this season too. But I think that's every season of my life, so I don't really even know how to. I don't even know what that really even means. So I'm really working through what it looks like to balance out the concept of slow and steady. And what I mean by slow and steady, there's this book, I'll maybe suggest it one day. There's this book called, what is it called? Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. I didn't finish it, so that's one reason I don't suggest it a ton because I still haven't finished it. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And anyway, it is. I mean, it's about exactly what it sounds, and I think that's a good ethic to stand by and to begin to live your life by. So I'm trying to like learn how to slow down and not just for the sake of like the cliche aspect of it, but actually really do it because the hurried nature that we live our lives, I think is so arbitrary and fake and rooted in literally nothing when you actually look into it deeper. So I'm really trying to do that while also being a 30-year-old who is on the grind to make all of my dreams in my life come true. And so finding the balance between those two spaces is torture. So honestly, that's what I'm navigating. I really want to learn how to not overwhelm myself, but also be that girl, whatever the heck that even means, right? And make that applicable to you. But so same. I was going to say something different, but as soon as you said that, that resonated
So
more
it
with me.
sounds like because when you said this every season of my life, it is also every season of my life that I'm also doing too much at all times. But the balance of trying to be like actually well, but also like trying to also live into capitalistic standard and I can do like
Exactly.
coexist.
Uh-huh. Because Kat, no, that is a good point though. So much of this hurried nature that I was just talking about a minute ago is a product of capitalism and a product of living in a society that tells you that your value is rooted in productivity. And I know that we hear these terms a lot as kind of buzzwords, but I really encourage people that if you can or if you have the means to go spend some time in other countries. This is unique to us guys. It's not a thing, right? Like most countries. I remember having a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago about how they were saying how, man, I would love to be a doctor, but I can't be a doctor out in European countries because they were like, they don't get paid enough. They don't get paid enough.
Right.
And I was like, but they do. We just expect exorbitant amounts of everything, money, income. And I get it because in part, like our economy is way more vast than most places because we have so many things going at one time. So many, like the opportunities for you to be a thriving journalist or whatever, insert career, are like 10, 20 times more than if you go to almost any other country. And I'm talking about even Western countries. And so that is the trade-off, but it's like, that's only the trade-off. And that's the one that we see more appropriate because that's all we know. All we know is hyper productivity. All we know is get more money, bigger, better, faster, smarter. And we just don't value like slow walks in the park, at least not to the extent that other countries do. And I think I'm feeling the problematic nature in that the more I climb whatever this ladder is that they pushed me on.
One of the conversations that some of my friends here have, I believe one of them was talking about how they're like it's crazy for their like older generation in their family to hear something like I'm not trying to be rich. And it's like, no, I just want to be like literally just enough. We have more than enough. And we just need more. We want to acquire more. We want to create generational wealth, whatever that means. I had to tell Desmond, I was like, you do realize, I don't know if I said this, I probably have said this, but like generational wealth means you might not see it. And you have to be okay with that. And but we want to see it. I probably did say this on an episode, but
Yeah, you did. We had that
yeah,
conversation too. That's probably why it feels familiar.
we have enough.
And to the extent that you don't, one last thing there, and to the extent that you don't, I might get, but we also may need to do a reassessment of what we consider enough is and a radical reassessment around what is enough for you, right? Like, because if your enoughness is rooted in things that you see, things that you consume
Mhm.
by fake rich people on the internet, then you probably need to reassess. Because truthfully, as much as we always say, like, I don't know how our parents did it on XYZ income. It's because they weren't inundated with images all day long of fake rich people or stuff well beyond their means, but rather they were inundated with people in their own community who had the same means as them. So they went to church with people that also made $40,000, $30,000 a year, and they went to work with, and they went out on the weekends with the people that are just like them. And those were the things that they saw. So those were the things that were normal to them, and they made do with that. It's not to say that they didn't struggle. Don't hear that. People struggled. We've always struggled, but also even struggle is relative. And even the pain of struggle is relative when you're in a community of people that like are equally kind of struggling, but are loving on each other and supplementing all those other things we need as a human beyond just money. But that requires us to reassess, turn off the phones, turn off all of the consuming of everywhere, and be like, what do it actually take to be a happy human being? Because I'm telling you, more and more and more stuff, money costs money. It costs more money to make money. I'm
They
telling you.
also
So
shared their
anyway.
Telfars and they didn't have every Telfar color. We still haven't posted that episode, but like that is something I have been.
Yeah, oh, I forgot we talked about that. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We'll post that one. That'll be like a bonus one day when we're two. Yeah, we'll do that.
They shared their Telfars and they didn't buy every single Telfar. I was just thinking about the concept. Like I was watching Dreamville Fest. I'm like the highlights. These headphones are impeccable. I am so mad. This quality of stuff is so good. Like gamers, they know the good stuff. Okay. Anyway, I was like seeing them talk about like seeing, the highlights of Dreamville Fest. And it's like the concept that like regular people are doing the same thing as celebrities is like really like new. So we're like this keeping up the Joneses, like you talking about the images, like keeping up with the Joneses was literally the person across the street, not the person across the country or the person,
That's a good point.
we are like being all this is getting thrown at us all the time. So it makes you feel inadequate at all times.
All the time.
So yeah, just thinking about all the things you said as well.
Yeah, how much we actually weren't designed. I saw a comment actually, wasn't even nothing super analytical. It was just a comment on the video that was like, you got to remember that we weren't designed to even see ourselves this
Mhm.
much all the time, right? Like mirrors aside, literally a selfie camera, mirrors, videos, like we're all inundated with videos of ourselves or other people. So we're always constantly trying to, or in the mode of comparison. We just weren't designed to be this much in comparison with one another rather than supporting and in community and uplifting, not uplifting, because I don't want to sound extra fake positive, but I mean, supporting one another to get like shared goals done, whether that be in a workspace or otherwise. That is what humans are actually designed, or at least inclined towards historically. And so you're right, this is all really, really relatively new. This concept of seeing yourself all the time, being hyper aware of what you look like, how you're presented to the world, especially to this degree. We just haven't seen it, and so we don't even know the implications of it and how dangerous it's going to be, or potentially positive, whatever. Let me not be, because everybody just always saying I'm not I'm an optimist. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Anyhow, with that, I don't have the script in front of me, but that's okay, because each week we dive into the nuance and issues that are relevant to Black women specifically. And this week we want to dive into all of the nuance and figure out, Morgan, invite us into what is on the agenda for the week.
That was amazing. Okay.
I'll be paying attention.
So this week we are navigating as an audience and figuring out the nuance of like answering the question, can Black women be well? And look, thinking about wellness, but specifically for Black women in the context of Black women in America and how we navigate all the other systems, the oppressive systems that we are a part of. And the question really is, can we be well? Tony K. Bambara asked the question, are you sure, sweetheart, that you want to be made well? And when I think of that quote, I actually have not read Salt Eaters, but when I think of that quote, that's how she opens up the book. I'm thinking about like wellness as a destination, that you are made well, and it's not something that you just are. And when you're asking somebody, are you sure you want to be made well? It's asking like, are you sure you're ready to go on this journey? Like, do you really want to put in the work to be well? And it's actually sitting on my little jewelry thing. And it sits there every day. I see it. And every time I'm doing something that's like about like a presentation or something like that, I think about it, because I kind of root my like presentations around wellness and pleasure in that question. Because y'all hear me talk about Audre Lorde all the time with pleasure, not pleasure activism, with uses of the erotic, and then Adrienne Marie Brown with pleasure activism and the act of being like, this idea of pleasure is a destination and wellness is a destination, all the things. So like, are you sure, sweetheart, that you want to be made well and go on that journey? Because wellness takes takes the digging up of things. I think of it like gardening as well. Like, you pulling up stuff, you're planting new stuff, you're learning new habits, and you're not just doing this cliche, I'm running and I'm taking bubble baths and all that. Wellness is what is feeding your soul and what is keeping you and sustaining you, versus like, I can post an Instagram picture, I can post an Instagram story that I'm taking my bubble baths or what have you, but truly, what is making you well? So let's open up the conversation and think about like, what does wellness look like? And I guess we can look at it that way. What does wellness look like? What is wellness not? Go there.
What is it?
What is
Okay,
it?
I like that.
And let's go earlier on the conversation.
Okay. Well, I think what it's definitely not is the commercialized version that we've been sold it to be present day. I think that when I think of wellness, when I think of wellness initially, there are literally images that come to my mind. And I think that's a problem.
Right.
Let's start there. The fact that I can pinpoint images and I'm sure I could if I did the work, but the initial thoughts that come to my mind are images and concepts rather than personalized experiences. And it's not even that I don't have my own personalized experience, but that just speaks to how much wellness and the concept of it has been commercialized and commodified. And for example, we'll pause for 2 seconds and ask you, what does wellness look like for you? One, two. I'm sure you just thought of going to the nail shop, like Morgan said, taking a bubble bath and doing some more things that are maybe even more internal, personalized, like journaling.
Right.
All good things, but those are products of a person who is internally well. And they're examples of what a person who is internally well does to continue to refine and grow in their state of wellness. So anyway, what it is definitely not is the commercialized version of it that we've turned it into. I'm going to start there. Does that make sense?
Very much so. When you said images of wellness, I thought immediately of like green leaves, yoga, the lotus flower. I thought about um, the chakra things, which is no shade to chakras, because I'm like all my friends. I'm not gonna go on a tangent. I'm not gonna go to tangent. All the people I attract these days are the people who do yoga and are into chakras and alignment and all that. But those are just the images I think of, and I'm like you said, that is wellness, but also you like you dang, Raven is good. Like that is the byproduct of people being well. Like you don't just get to understanding chakras and alignment and being a master yogi, right? Because doing yoga is not just body, it is release, it is breathing, it is meditation. And when people have done yoga for a long time, they know like it takes a lot of internal work mentally to even get into your body physically. There's a lot of healing that happens, like trauma's released and all the things. So like I liked how you said that that is a byproduct of a well person on the journey of wellness.
And I wanted to add to that, as you were saying, it made me think about how, let me explain why this is important to make a distinction and why you just going to the nail shop and doing yoga out in the grass won't do. Because think of it this way. I hate to use this because it's cliche, but this is the first place that my mind went to. You know how people say you can't outwork a bad diet when you're like, let's say you're trying to lose weight or even gain weight for that matter. Going to the gym is never solely enough, right? Or similarly, it's the equivalent of like cleaning up your house, like picking up stuff, maybe picking up things off the floor. Yeah, but if you haven't mopped or vacuumed at some point, the floor is still gonna be nasty. Just because you picked up the toys that were on top of it doesn't mean that the base of the floor or the carpet still doesn't need shampooing or cleaning. So I think it's the same. I think it's the same here. You can do all the external things to practice wellness or to practice the image of wellness, but ultimately, if your internal self is still jacked up, what does that mean? Because I don't want to be pejorative to anybody specifically. Internal self being out of whack looks like I still don't know what to do with my thoughts. I don't know how to organize my thoughts, and all they do
Right.
is scream at me. So then wellness, so going to get your nails done just becomes another activity to ignore the screaming thoughts that you can't control. Or one more, I still don't necessarily know how to process anger. And so or I don't know how to process stress. Well, until you actually learn how to say no and prioritize things appropriately in your life, going to get your nails done, going to do yoga on the grass will only be another activity that you have to check off the box for, which will ultimately cause more stress because it's like, shoot, I got to pencil in wellness too. Well, I thought you were doing that to not be stressed. Wait a second. How is the wellness causing stress? So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
I think like so I was just thinking about like it's like you're hungry, right? And somebody's telling you to like go rate your feelings. No, the wellness part is I don't have anything to eat. So like telling me to write so I was just thinking about it systematically. If you're like the person who stole to eat, they're not like stealing because they want to steal, they're stealing because they're hungry and something on the larger scheme of things is not working for their wellness. And then like the sometimes the social media post that says like money will make you happy. Actually, money will probably solve 99% of my problems. You know what I mean? Like the idea of like you can't budget your way out of poverty. No, there's a system that is like set up that is keeping somebody poor. And whether that system is the system is literally like pushing you into poverty while or also you're quote unquote out of poverty, but you haven't relearned habits, right? So like thinking about it in that way as well. So just elaborating more on like the practices. For
Yeah.
me, wellness is not dieting. When we originally wrote out like some of the outlines we would talk about, when I brought up wellness, I was thinking about like the fact that I've tried like every single diet there could be. If you ask me, if I ask me about a diet, name a diet. I've done it. Maybe except for Atkins. What'd you say?
No, I was saying name of that. Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, name a diet. Let's try. Let's try.
Name a diet, right, Morgan.
So that's not well, right? Because when you think about the idea of like eating, right? You have to eat to survive. But like trying to cut out one particular food group in order to lose weight with the goal is to lose weight, right? Not well. Like where is that putting you mentally? Where is that putting you physically, right? The idea of like even running miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Like I've thought about like when were the times that I was like super fit? I was running multiple miles and I mean like 10 miles a week, 15 miles a week. At what point is that like healthy, right? And then it's just are sustainable. So like in the wheel, in the big schema of things, is that wellness, is that holistic, you know?
I like that. I like that. Because what I just gathered from that is sustainability. Wellness is how can we sustain, how can we build a human body mentally and physically and all the things that encompasses what it is to be a human and a sentient being? How can we build a human body that can withstand and sustain in the wows and woes of human consciousness and the earth that we exist in, right? How can we build a sustainable human body that can sustain in this harsh space with a lot of harsh things? We experience a lot of pain and suffering. Life is equally beautiful as it is. Life is equally beauty as it is suffering, but that doesn't negate the impact of the suffering. And so what does it look like to create a body and a mind that can sustain that suffering? That's good.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about like when it comes to sustainability, if I keep on with the weight or the body of the
Yeah.
um if you are if your body can sustain well at X amount of pounds and it's not necessarily the weight you wanted it to be, but you can sustain well, like, and you're able
Yeah.
to go to work and be okay. You're able to get up in the morning and be great. Like, you're able to like be there with your family. You're not like in the gym for 3 hours a day. You know what I mean? Or like the job that you have, it might not be the job you want, but it pays the bills. Like you might like the coworkers you got for the season, so like thinking about it in the way that it's like, how how am I not losing my mind in this season, right? Are the things working that like I might not be able to clean the house every single day, but I can clean it once a week. I might not be able to spend a million, like I might not be able to, me and my man not be able to have like 3 day nights a week, but might be able to have one a month. Or as new parents, you know what I mean? So like in what ways are you cultivating a life where you I guess that we're answering the question of what is wellness. So like, in what ways are you cultivating a life that is sustainable?
Yeah, yeah. So it almost putting the onus onto you. It's like a personal responsibility thing. And I love that because yeah, it's a good time to pivot. I feel like we've acknowledged what it's not. I actually I want to hit on something there too, but before I go back though, there is a level of personal responsibility to it. And I think people immediately, when they think the personal responsibility, they think of the commercialized versions that we've talked
Mhm.
about. Okay, well, I'm trying to do these things. I'm trying to check off more boxes, but the personal responsibility piece of it is what is it? The sustainability, right? And so not actions or not check off box checking actionable steps, but rather what internal steps need to be taken. But before we get there though, because I think that's going to be more for hard stuff and like later, what I do want to talk about, especially as a therapist, is so it's a bit about the commercialization of this word or this concept, but also about how we've kind of toxified it too, and how we've turned conversation about wellness into these unintentionally. I don't think we've done this intentionally because the pendulum swang. Let me do a little bit of history just for a second. Obviously, we know when it comes to concepts like mental health and wellness 50 years ago, it was a foreign concept, a little bit more than 50, but definitely 50 though. 50, 60 plus years ago, it was like, girl, what even is that? Are you working? Are you capable of work? How
Right.
about that? What are you to society? Feelings, I don't know what that is.
That's why
And so we go ahead.
our parents call us soft.
Like, no, I actually, woof, got some stuff to say there. I had somebody in my family, I'll just say this, who's done immense harm to a lot of us in my family. Via text message, they told my brother the other day, I was born in the 60s. What you want me to say? I don't do all that soft stuff. Oh, okay. That was literally what they said. Mind you, they've done immense harm. And I'm not saying harm in the cliche way. I mean literal harm. But anyway, so yeah, that's so true. Nevertheless, 50, 60 years ago, wellness would have been a foreign concept. And if you would have brought it up, it would have been laughed at or not taken seriously at all. Fast forward to present day, there was just this major pendulum swing in people's acceptance and acknowledgement of the fact that, oh my God, no, to be a sentient being, you are equally physical as well as mental, and all of that plays a part in how we show up and engage with the world. Now, we're grateful for that pendulum swing. We needed that pendulum to swing because people were literally, quite literally losing their minds, depressed, struggling even with things like autism and all sort of behavioral disorders that we just didn't have language for. And to the degree that we did, people were shamed for it. We needed to move away from that. But so and so like everything humans do, when the pendulum swings too hard because we're post-Eden people, we just try and fix problems and we gonna mess up more and create more problems from there. The, the pendulum swung extremely hard, and then we started to misconstrue or confuse wellness with started to confuse wellness with self-centeredness and self-righteousness. So much so to the point that, yes, wellness became this self-righteousness concept that I don't have to put up with anything that makes me uncomfortable. I don't have to talk to people that don't completely align with me. I don't have to navigate difficult concepts and things that may not necessarily align with how I feel, because everything to protect my wellness, everything to protect my mental health and my mental headspace. And I'm not sure if wellness is synonymous with protection more than it is synonymous with, like we said a minute ago, sustainability. Truthfully, and I'm done here, and we can kind of go back and forth on it, you can't sustain with just a one-dimensional worldview, a one-dimensional lens about how you feel about different things, or a different one-dimensional lens on different opinions and perspectives about several things. That's not sustainable. So just because it may not cause you any adverse feelings, even not experiencing adverse feelings is actually not sustainable either.
Right.
So, but I don't know, you can keep going. Does that make sense though? Tell me if
No,
that makes
I'm
sense.
laughing because I literally am writing, we cut people off because they're not making us happy. Like, and it's like answering the question, are you sure you want to be made well? Because if you want to be made well, you're going to have to probably have some difficult conversations. And that is not to say that you are supposed to keep yourself in places where like people are harming you, right? That's not that. This is saying like, so this person, you acknowledge that this person hurt you. You had that conversation. Did you even had a conversation to say, you hurt my feelings? Or you hurt me when I was growing up? Or did anything like that before you said, I'm done with you? Like, did you do that? Or did you say I'm done? And so those conversations could actually maybe birth something. And it's like, I understand. I'm avoiding some conversations as we speak, right? Like, and it's like those conversations could actually birth something beautiful, but you don't know until you have the conversation. Because, and I get it, like you might be scared. I'll speak for myself. I am scared of having a conversation specifically with my father, because if I feel like it's not going to be taken well. And it's like, but it's like optimistically thinking that it might happen, right? It might be a good thing. Something might be birthed out of this conversation that might be well. But if I'm not willing to have that conversation, I'm just like, well, you hurt me as a child and I cut you off. Everybody just walking around like la da da da, you know? So it's like, again, are you sure you want to be made well? Because the making part is where we become well. We don't become well, stamp of approval, wellness. You have to be made well.
Yep. You have to be made well. And that is a personal responsibility thing. So, yeah, it's all circling exactly where you left off in the last thing that you said. It's a personal responsibility thing. Wellness doesn't insulate you from pain. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna be punched for saying that. Wellness does not mean you don't experience pain or discomfort. And also, wellness doesn't mean that the people who brought you pain or discomfort, traumas, or whatever the case may be, are now the spawn of Satan who never have to be engaged with again. Obviously, this is relative. Sign up for therapy if you want to talk through your specific traumas, fair. But what I'm saying is, people hurt people, and I know we've kind of done away with that term because it's made us, it doesn't bode well with the narrative that wellness would require us to not feel pain. So we've kind of done away with that, and that statement has become a little bit more cliche. But the more you start to really reckon with the fact that, oh shoot, we're all broken, and so even people who have brought me pain may deserve a level of grace and mercy from me. Grace and mercy doesn't mean, what's it called, reconciliation. No, what's
Yeah,
the
you
word I always say? What's what I always say? What do I always say it all
said
the
in the last
time?
episode, reconciliation.
Reconciliation doesn't mean restoration. So that doesn't mean you jump right back into relationship necessarily, but that is to say that wellness just doesn't look like, oh, well,
I think we've already had this conversation about like we as Black people really can't do the cutting off type thing, and I don't think that that breeds wellness for us anyway. Like we're communal people, and when you say hurt people, like I think that's different for when we say things about people who have been harmed by like societal things, right? Like when you've been harmed by racism, you've been harmed by sexism, you've been harmed by classism, all the isms, when you've been harmed by like generations of trauma, right? There is something to
yeah,
that. So yes, hurt people. Like thinking about like, say for example, if someone has like a drug addicted or alcohol addicted parent, and they might have grown up with that. Have we thought about the trauma they might have went through? And yes, that trauma made them do drink and smoke or do the things, and then that translated over to you in a particular way and harmed you, but have we also thought about like, where was that person hurting, right? So just thinking about it in a different cultural lens of like, when we say hurt people, we don't mean like you said, they're not absolved from the pain they put you in. They harmed you, they hurt you, but at the same time, it's like the grace comes in with understanding, at least just understanding where it might have come from. And then when you
Mhm.
said like, when I'm thinking about like the idea of like restoration, the relationship doesn't necessarily have to look the same, right? You
Yeah.
can still be in a distant community. Like y'all can be in the same room, y'all can come to the same functions,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean that y'all can't work something out where you are putting in boundaries, because that's a form of wellness. Like that's a conversation. Like we're having a conversation about like, what is it called? Mediation, right? You're figuring out like what it is that works for both parties.
Well, what I was going to add to that though is this whole cutoff culture actually came from this warped idea of what wellness is
Right.
because it's fed into this notion that we can actually live without other people, and so much of our automation within our society, because I want to be clear, the reason I always mention like society and automation and those sorts of things is because this stuff don't happen in a vacuum. We are basically experiencing shifts within culture, and then we respond socioculturally with each other. And so the more the world became more automated, the more we were able to do things isolated from one another, live more independently, get more entertainment via TV, phone, iPad, blah, blah, all the things, the less we needed people for satiation, right? For stimulation. And so we've been moving more and more towards this isolated sort of mentality since around the 1960s. And the reason why that is how that relates to wellness is because if all of the things that you're able to now buy and acquire in your own individual life makes you feel gratified with or without people in your life, then of course our ideals of wellness will be like, well, why do I need you? Oh my God, you hurt me. Girl, get out of my life. Bye. I don't need you. But it's like, yes, you do. But all of your sensibilities tell you you don't, because you can just go turn on the XYZ in your room and you'll be fine without them. You'll be stimulated without them. But now what we're seeing with all the new research is that, shoot, over time, oh my God, wait, it's almost like we're missing this one key element to humanity. What is it? Is it friends? I think it's family. I think fresh, the cookouts. Like I could tell y'all didn't do Sunday school speeches with your friends at the church. I could tell, or whatever. And speaking of Sunday school speeches, I'm gonna pivot here just for a second. This is why when people, well, y'all probably don't, but I have people who have asked me in like more academic settings, how do I still subscribe to Christianity or faith system in general? Or if they don't ask that explicitly, they'll just be like, I get that you need to cling to something for hope. I get that you need to cling to like this concept. But anyway, so much of my faith and the reasons why I've still clung to it outside of the fact that I just believe in Jesus. But the tenets of Christianity, I believe, so speak to this and are so grounded in this concept. And so when we talk about community and we talk about what it looks like to be well and how those things are interconnected, I never lost that, because the fundamental foundational thoughts around how I conduct my life are rooted in Christianity. And Christianity is all of that automatically. Like, I feel like when we have these conversations, people circle back around to it. It's like, right, because it's almost like we needed people. And it's almost like, oh, to be well, I have to not focus on money, because money is the root of all, or the love of money is the root of all, right? It's almost like they circle back to everything that scripture and that Christianity already like was built upon. So when you start from that place, these are things that are already fundamentally true to how I function and how I live my life anyway. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. I don't know if this makes sense, but yeah.
I was just thinking about, or I can feel him in my soul. Yes, I know. Like that's why, because I know God is real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all want to know what's really funny? Is I'm always singing on this podcast, and Raven is actually the sink.
It's usually like that in most of my settings, honestly. I just let people rock. I let people
I'll
rock.
let you do it. Go do your thing.
I'll be like,
Be
yes.
humble. Be humble.
Wait, wait, on that note, real quick. When people I might have told you this already. Y'all don't, I'm not mean. But sometimes when people like sing for me unintentionally, like, I'm not, no, not for me. I mean, like when they sing around me sometimes, and it's fine, but like sometimes something it'll sound like it sound. And then I'll like laugh, and then they be like, And I'll be like, no, you sometimes it'd be like, oh, that wasn't a joke. Oh, that was
Serious.
that was for real. No, if I had a dime for how much that has happened throughout my life, and so I've had to learn to be like, you can't, because sometimes you'll hear a sound that be like, I'd be like, girl, and she,
Not a sound, not a sound. I heard a sound.
I'd be like, oh, you was for real. Anyway, it's my wellness journey. It's my wellness journey.
For I can feel him. So we're not
That's what, come on, fan, come on, come on.
to be honest, I don't even Easter's coming up and was my favorite holiday as a child. And I'm
Yeah.
reckoning right now. I'm like, I don't even want to go to church. Like,
Why?
why? Because I don't have a church home. It's very much like I kind of don't want to be with those people that come to church on Easter, even though I was a Easter girl. I was only an Easter church girl basically to high school. But like, I'm also like, I don't want to. I don't know. I'm just reckoning with a lot of stuff right now. But Easter was my favorite holiday because it was only one of my favorite holidays. So the only holiday we went to church, and I'm just like, that's how I know God is real because it has nothing to do with the church. For me, like, it has nothing to do with the church. I say that because of that. It is very much a person. Like, it's so funny how people like it's a personal relationship. No, it really is for me.
Yeah, it is.
But I'll be in somebody's church this Sunday because my baby Frederica cannot be out of church on a Sunday on Easter. You gotta have her
Easter.
first Easter in the church.
She do. You got. I need you to. Is she gonna have the floofy dress on? Like, if she don't, I don't. I just.
I literally haven't done anything. I'm like, I gotta go find her some socks or something.
Are you a mom? Are you a mom?
Oh, I did get an Easter basket. So secular, right?
Okay, that's a start. Okay, check, check.
That
And she needs. If she don't have a dress that makes her legs itch like she's been bitten by 6 mosquitoes and makes her fall over, then is it even Easter?
I
I'm
know.
just trying to understand.
I'm
All that hard tool under them dresses. Baby, but it used to feel like, what? Happy Easter. Jesus who? Baby, me.
fashion show.
Sunday. Huh? Yeah, you gotta get a dress. You gotta get a dress.
Get paid tomorrow.
But then also we don't want to just necessarily do because it's not that deep. It's not that deep.
She really also doesn't have any dresses right now, so she does need a new dress. Yeah. I think she
Okay,
hasn't
see,
worn. She has to have a new dress for the Easter.
yes, okay. I was just see, honestly, now I actually feel bad. I hate that we're putting this out publicly
Hey,
because if I would have known that, baby, your daughter would have had 5 dresses on y'all mail step on y'all doorstep by yesterday. Okay. Now I would have been like had a whole fashion hall, try on hall. Seriously. Because baby, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
if your baby only got her dress in the closet, put her in that dress in the closet. Okay.
Do what you gotta do, but for her, she now needs to be just like
In this
I'm just playing.
community, it's a new dress.
In this community, the way we do wellness, no, for real, no, for real. But yes, yes, honestly, this is, and okay, but actually, we can correlate this. This is, you see the joy that we pull out. I'm reaching, but you see the joy that comes when we reflect on the Easter traditions. Such joy, such beautiful, such beauty in that. Like that's in all seriousness, though, that is in part wellness for me because the church. Watch me do this.
Come on.
The church, the church, and my history with the church exclusive. Something certain things excluded, but those memories and like learning speeches and my first friends and cousins learning speeches with them being petrified, standing in that line waiting for your turn, like those memories in community. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think it's coincidental that our most fond memories or our fondest memories are often ones where we were in community with people. And I know that that's very relative because I know sometimes people will have some where the community represents harm for them. But yeah, I just think for me specifically, let me be very intentional with my language. For me, I don't think it's coincidental that my fondest memories are of communal spaces. And the way that correlates with wellness is because if it's fond, then people bring joy. People bring what I'm reaching. Never mind. Sorry. Let me just
I
stop.
will say that spirituality is one of the 8 dimensions of wellness.
There you go. Oh, that's where we were going. Yes.
So you wrapped it up. So I think to answer the question of why I'm struggling with Easter is that like I'm at a place right now in my spiritual journey that I really want to be taught and hear sermons that are aligned with the spiritual person I am today. But that means I'm probably going to be in a church where I don't hear the blood still works. Or if I go to the church where I hear the blood still works, that they won't be theologically sound for where I'm at in life. And that's where I'm reckoning right now is that like I want both and I need I need the I need I need the so I need that and I need a good theologically sound word. So when thinking about I'm gonna stop snacking my tongue in this mic too. When thinking about the like what is wellness, right? I think about the 8 dimensions of wellness, and so I'm gonna name them. One is spiritual, emotional, financial, intellectual, vocational, occupational, social, physical, and environmental. So when I was thinking about, I think I said it in here, was like how we are reaching towards wellness versus like it didn't name nothing in there about like journaling or doing yoga. I mean, it did say physical and stuff like that, but it's thinking about the sustainability, like you said, thinking about all the things, all the factors. And one of the things I was thinking about was like when I asked the question, can Black women be made well? So I'm thinking about like all the social issues that Black people face. I'm thinking about one that's like simple is like, okay, what if I wasn't able to go to college and I work at a job I absolutely hate, but I have to work so I can provide for my family and occupationally or vocationally, I'm not well. What do I do with that? So the question really is when you cannot become well with in one of these like areas of wellness, then what? And I was like, I don't know if I have an answer for that, but I think I do have an answer, but I would love to hear what yours would be to that question.
Because I want to make sure I'm hearing you well.
So like I'm thinking about like what if you're not well in all 8 dimensions of wellness and like from a society like from societal issues, you've put in a place where you weren't afforded the opportunities to maybe get the best education.
Yeah.
So now you end up in a situation where maybe you have a job that you don't like, but it pays your job, it pays your bills, you provide for your family, and you're well in that sense, but you literally hate your job. And it's like, but if I quit my job, I don't have other options. So it's like, are you well? And
Hmm.
in one way, yes, because you're financially stable. But another way, it's like I feel like I'm about to lose my mind because I'm going to job and I hate it every day. So it's like, how do you reckon with that? You might be in a space right now because, and you might be in that space forever because of who your place in society, right? And I'm thinking about like your place. I'm thinking about place in society when, because I do come from a like a thought that like sometimes we cannot outwork where we are in society. Like pulling up your bootstraps is not going to work for everybody. These people are just like at jobs they hate, right? So how do you reckon with the fact that you might be in a place that you cannot leave in one of these areas, right? And it will never be like you like kind of talking about the idea of like balance. What if I literally cannot get balance in this one area? Then what?
God and giving. And the reason I say that, and I want to hear your thoughts too, because I'm not saying mine is definitively right, but God and giving. God, because you have to reach for something higher than yourself. So many times we feel meaninglessness in those specific 8 dimensions of wellness or facets of human beingness, what it is to be a human and a well human, because we're trying to derive meaning from the same temporal spaces in which we live. You can't do that. Although I am a Christian, regardless of whatever I'll cut that out because I don't want people to fire me. But my point is, you have to reach beyond yourself because you didn't make yourself. And to the extent that people, maybe perhaps there'll be some atheists or some people who don't necessarily believe in something higher than themselves in the audience. So let me ask you a question. That existential yearning that you feel, even if you don't classify it or qualify it to a God, that existential yearning that you feel maybe when you are high or drunk, or maybe when you hug a child or when you touch a dog or something, that feel, it's a yearning sometimes sometimes, but sometimes it's a when you touch something or you engage with something you love, you get like tingles. That's because there is a force and energy, something that exists outside of this metaphysical or this physical space in the metaphysical that correlates with who we are internally. And so you can't reach for meaning from a place that is void of meaning and all on its way to death or actively dying every day. So that's one. And then the second one, I said giving, make your life less about you. So often when you're so consumed with, well, in my job, I have this really bad job and it's really so horrible and I hate it and all of the things that make us sad or make us angry or frustrated with our current lots in life. All valid. I don't dismiss any of it. Your lived experiences are yours, and I know the pain of living a life that isn't like ideal for somebody, no matter what that is. And I know that even that is relative. We can only focus on the things that we can control in the immediate. And what we all have some access to or power over is how much we serve and are in service to the world around us. And I hear the critiques now. Raven, I ain't got no money to be giving people. I barely got enough for myself. My bills are due myself. My kids need stuff myself. Absolutely, without question. And I'm not saying to take money out of your home, or I'm not saying to starve your kids or starve your life in any way so that somebody else can have, at least not completely. But what I am challenging you is to look beyond what you see and ask yourself, where else is there need? Not so that you can showboat or pretend like you are something greater or like, oh, at least I'm not them, but because this is actually kind of connected to that existential thing I was just saying a moment ago. Because meaning comes from altruism. Meaning comes from service. The feeling we all get when, like, let's say somebody on the streets that you saw an unhoused person or somebody said, man, you changed my life, or thank you for doing that. That really made me joyful today. That feeling you get, that's connected to something higher than yourself. And it's a medicine for what it is to be conscious. Like I always say, service is the rent we pay to live here. You want to solve for the problems of unfulfillment in those 8 dimensions, make your life a little bit less about you. And it'll bring I won't say all, it'll bring a lot more clarity in those specific dimensions around what it is your purpose is, where you should be putting a little bit more energy, where you should be pulling back some, where you should be creating boundaries. So God and giving, that's me. Okay, how about you though? What do you think? Yeah.
I'm very much on the community driven train right now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so community, you're a black
Yeah.
person, black woman at a job you hate. And it's kind of like, okay, I need to be filled. I need my cup filled. Go fill your cup around some people that will fill your cup. Being around people and whatnot and giving to people. But I was also thinking like community. I don't know why the Telfar example keeps coming up. Like, and it's like, are you working? Do you have to be at that place for 1,000 hours because you just want all the things, or because like you're scared to ask for help? Like, because if we're in community, it's like, are we able to take a day off and still be able to not worry about are we eating? You know, like I saw an analogy of like, does everybody need a lawnmower in the neighborhood, or does one person need a lawnmower in the neighborhood and we share it? You know, so like that whole idea of like giving and sharing amongst your community. So like I'm just thinking about like I don't know why I'm thinking about the working analogy so bad, but like I think it's because like with like the idea of working, like if you working too much, you don't have rest. And it's like within community you can find rest because people have resources that you might not have. So I think that's my answer. That is my answer, is just community and being filled up in more ways than one. Um Not just like I love being around my people, but like sometimes like them you might the networking part, and I don't mean networking in the sense of like you're only around people to
Mm-hmm.
find to get something, but like the networking part in the sense of like, oh, I can help you with that, and then they help you with something, and then it's like bam, we're relieved in an area, and it causes you to be able to have rest in something so that maybe you can start living in your purpose and you are doing the thing that you feel called to do, and that might open up a door that you might be able to work less at the job that you absolutely hate and maybe have a side hustle that you absolutely love. I don't know.
Yeah. No, since that's yours, I want to ask you to expound on something. Do you think what if I'm afraid that no, people don't want to do all of that bartering stuff and we only got one on, like people don't want to do all that. People gonna think I'm doing too much, or I don't want people to think that I don't have, or how do you go about that? How do you respond to somebody who feels that?
those aren't your people. Like, and that might be what you need to reckon with is that A, those aren't your people. And then I am starting to believe firmly that whatever you are, whoever you're whatever you're desiring, those people, like your support system will meet you at the door. Your like whatever you decide, I'm gonna set out and I'm gonna do this. That's your support system gonna meet you. So this idea of like people are gonna make fun of me, those aren't your people. You might
Yeah.
not get like I need this thing. And the fact that like I am in so many Facebook groups right now, mom groups, just giving away stuff for free. Like, so it's like
Love that.
you I'm starting to see like people, when you have to buy stuff at a constant rate, like because children are growing, you start to realize like ain't nobody got time to be buying every single thing brand new, right? So my point is like, yeah, if you are trying to evolve or move into a different space in your life, and it's like I'm gonna change. B96 in Louisville, Kentucky always says, if you can't change people around you, change the people around you. And if you can't, if
Mhm.
you are looking for different people and those, you feel like those people, like the people around you are not going to meet you with the things that, you desire, in life in the season, then those aren't your people. And you just got to change those people. And I believe that because you are desiring something new, that new group of people will fulfill you even more than the people of your past might have.
You actually took that. I was thinking something else, but that's why I'm glad I asked you because I wanted to hear what your perspective was going to be on that. And I wholeheartedly agree. But before you decide that those aren't your people, the only thing I'll say is don't assume stuff that you haven't tried.
Right.
Don't project stuff onto them because if you feel like they would be an exhaustion for you if they came to ask for help, you can't just assume that that's how they'll feel. Or similarly, don't let your insecurities block you from your blessings and block you from building that sort of a community because like, oh, ain't nobody, nah, ain't nobody, everybody got their own stuff. You know what I found as a therapist, kid you not, everybody, we largely think the same about each other. We largely all feel like, I don't want to be a burden. So if everybody feels like they don't want to be a burden, then we're all have this narrative in our heads that, well, I won't ask the moms on my block to carpool because everybody got their own stuff going on. No, every mom is exhausted and wish that they had community and wish people could come along and coincide with them to help on this journey of parenting and or whatever, right? Fill in the blank or whatever your specific role is. So wellness, this is going back to that personal responsibility. What does it look like to be sustained in this era of life or the wilds of the world that you're existing in or experiencing at that moment? Getting out of your comfort zone for the sake of your sustainability. So yeah, before you drop him, actually try it, actually test it out first, because oftentimes people need the same stuff that you do too. And a well person, a person who wants to pursue wellness for real, pushes past fears because you can't be lead with fears. You can't live a life with fears at the fore because that leads to destruction.
I will also add though, like, because I think the way I set that answer up is to cut them off. Those aren't your people. But I also feel like that contradicts what I've been saying is that not to cut people off. And I don't think you should cut people off if those like if the people like you need a ride to airport and they personally can't do if those aren't your airport people, those might be the people that you sit at the football field with. You know what I mean? So like that might not be your community in that particular sense, but those people might be there for something else. And just because somebody might be not be able to do something for you or be in community and with you the way you might need them in this moment doesn't mean they can't be a part of your community.
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually got that when you first said that. I kind of, that essentially, rather than being depressed and sad about like, oh, why won't these people take me to the airport? Similarly, we talked about that when we started the podcast, right? Or when I first wrote my books. Why don't the people in my life? Why don't they read my books? They're who they are, and I love them for what their interests are. So now let me go find the people that do like books like this. Are you getting sad and angry at people for being people? These people are working class people that go to work and are stressed and got to raise kids. Like it does us no good to be overly angry at people. And what that speaks to, and I wanted to say this, what wellness also looks like, guys, is a radical philosophical shift in thinking about human beings. Man, again, this is rooted in my Christianity. I hate to always do it, but because I believe that people are inherently valuable. We talked about valuable. We talk about that all the time. And because of that, I am genuinely curious and interested in human beings and not, I don't automatically start relationships. I used to, but I don't automatically start relationships with a jadedness or a frustration about people and their decisions and their behaviors. Do I get frustrated with people about their decisions and their behaviors? Yeah. Because I'm a Christian, this is for me. Because I'm a Christian, I see everybody through the lens of man, how did you navigate this post-Eden world? Post-Eden meaning this sinful, horrific world with death, sin, decay, murder, sadness, all of the things that make this time on this planet hard. How are you navigating it? Oh, shoot, these are the ways you're doing it well. Maybe not so well that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but I know all of it is a conglomerate of you just trying to navigate consciousness. It's hard. But anyway, so I say that because that makes it easier for me to engage with people and see people not necessarily as these things to be cut off or dismissed, maybe appropriately dealt with, but because we're all just doing the same thing. And so anyway, wellness is a radical shift in how you see people and human value. And that takes time and that takes therapy too, to be fair. But yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think know if I had anything else about the about wellness besides I do believe that Black women can be well. I guess we can wrap that up in the heart segment. Oh,
Hmm.
I see you flipping through a book. Do you have a book recommendation?
I would definitely never suggest this. I wouldn't give this to anybody. Look at this. I read it last semester, but over the whole year though. But the reason I was flipping is because it was a chapter. I mean, it was a paragraph that I really, really wanted to read that went perfectly with my God and giving thing, but I can't find it. Maybe I'll post it or something on our Instagram because I think it, if that resonated, I got that concept from this book. So I mean, I'll give it if anybody ever cares. It's called The Wonderful Works of God. It's not even about wellness, to be fair, but still, I do think it's called The Wonderful Works of God by Herman Bovnik, and it talks about our relationship with God. And if any of the stuff that I ever be saying about God and like existentialism, all that stuff is even remotely interesting, that's a good book. That's a book where I kind of basically got my perspective about all of it from. And it's a good book to really help you explore God on a more metaphysical, human to God relationship kind of a way. So The Wonderful Works of God. But as far as wellness goes, girl, I can go for days. You go first, because I can go for days on a book about wellness, especially for Black women.
I think what I was about to say was Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown. I don't think I finished it. Actually, I might have finished it. I don't know. So I would recommend if I had to have a book suggestion for this week, I would recommend Emergent Strategies by Adrienne Marie Brown. It is a radical self-help book, society help, and planet help designed to shape the futures we want to live. This description said change is constant. The world is in a continual state of flux. It is a stream of ever mutating emergent problems. Rather than steel ourselves against such change, this book invites us to feel, map, assess, and learn from the swirling patterns around us in order to better understand and influence them as they happen. This is a resolutely materialist spirituality based equally on science and science fiction, a visionary incantation. Okay, my book suggestion is Emergent Strategy by Adrian Muir.
I got you. I know
Good book.
that's no, okay. That actually I do. What's her? Oh, Brown. Actually, no. Again, you be saying it's so funny because you be saying all the people that I always hear, like hear. I never delve in or whatever, but I always hear the names all the time. So it shows that it's the actual, like it is it's I can't I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but it's a thing. Anyway, no, mine would be. It's so crazy because I was gonna give a Anita Phillips book, which the Christian girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which The Garden Within, I think it's called. I only read like 2 chapters, so I don't like to give books that I haven't but it was cute. It was cute. She's a therapist. She's a doctor, so it's like a psychologist, I think. So it was good from what I got to, the parts that I got to. Yeah, I got so many, but the one I'm going to give is actually not written by a therapist or anything. However, I read it last summer, changed my life. It's called The Comfort Crisis. And the reason I'm suggesting by Michael Easter, but the reason I'm suggesting the comfort crisis is because it actually challenges our present day concept of wellness and kind of what we're trying to do in this conversation. It doesn't lean into the fact that just dismiss things and people and challenges so that you can pursue happiness and comfortability.
Right.
Quite literally, it says no. And he literally referenced like Harvard studies and like legitimate studies that talked about how we are actually not designed, humans meaning are actually not designed to be so overtly comfortable to the degree that we mitigate challenges, because that then almost like strips us of purpose, and a purposeless, aimless human being is a dangerous human being, right? So anyway, he makes the case, he it really is actually his story going through, like, I forget where he was, but it was like super cold mountains, and he was by himself, and he trekked these mountains for like months all by himself, basically trying to challenge his comfort living in a Western society with so much ease, so much, and how much that made him. So he was like shut off from, he kept like a flip phone, but he was shut off from the world. And every day he talked about how he almost died like twice while trying to do this trek, but essentially how it evolved him and how the challenge actually made him more well. So that's why I want to suggest that, because wellness doesn't always look like ease and comfort. So it's not necessarily that he talks directly about wellness, but rather he gives a picture around you can become well in a multitude of ways, and it doesn't just mean dismissing hardship.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
It was really, I'm not kidding, so good. Like, it was one of them I didn't put down. I read it in like 2 weeks. It was really good.
Again, if y'all want to follow us on the StoryGraph at What's on the Agenda Pod, you will see all of the books that we recommend each week. I do update it every week.
Don't we love that? So this is it. This is the podcast. Just want to say.
And so that is our our Do Your Research segment. And now we are on the What's the Girl Saying? Fun.
Okay. Oh, dang. I'm on my phone right now. Fudge. Wait, hold on. Do you have something? Because I actually think
I'm recording, Desmond. Come on, my headphones died. Hold on. Actually, you can have them back now.
Can't have shit.
Actually, recording. Our child at. Thank God.
Is that from
What?
That's from a movie, ain't it?
Is that from a movie, Desmond?
I feel like that's from a movie.
Desmond, is that from a movie? I can't have ish. That probably is.
I think it is. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm literally recording. We almost done, I promise.
Yeah, we are.
Recording. Please keep all this in so they can know who supports us and who don't.
I got it. I got you. Damn shit in this house.
Put this in right. You can have this move. You can have this as a like
Oh, we cute.
beginning. I support this shit.
That's smart. That's smart.
It takes me a while to get to it, but all this equipment is mine. So I support it.
Here we go. Works for me.
If I didn't support it, he wouldn't have this audio interface right here. She wouldn't have this mic. This mic is mine.
Expensive ass headphones. Yeah.
I support Black women doing everything they want to do. Because guess what? Her mother's a Black woman. Her mother's a Black woman. And if you don't support Black women when you got a Black mother, you a bitch ass nigga.
Period. That's what I always say.
I was about to be like, he ain't buy everything at this, everything I got right now. The light.
Girls love flexing on their niggas. Girls love flexing on their niggas. Meanwhile, my nigga bought all this too. Everything I'm on, girl. Everything I'm on. My man has bought all of this. All of that.
Hold on, because no, he didn't actually. Actually, he did. Except my computer.
You saw that. Girl, my man bought my computer. I
right there. I said, "This our computer."
What's that mean? That thing on Instagram that said, "I don't need nobody," and then like me, I'm the nobody. Have you seen that trend?
No.
Oh, it's like the girls be like, I don't need, they show some fire picture of them talking about, I don't need nobody, I'm Miss Independent. And then the guy is in the background talking about, hi guys, I'm nobody. She can't, if I walk past her without smacking her on the booty, she cries. Like, it was, oh, I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's so cute. It's funny. So cute.
I might make a post. That's hilarious. I know that will take him off. And
you should find it, and then y'all should do one because it's so cute.
That's funny. So, you got something for the What's the Girl Saying? This has been the most chaotic episode, and I absolutely adore it.
We'll see. No, I'm gonna mess around with it. Well, so I don't really have, because I thought she texted it to me, but we actually talked about it last week, so I don't. The only thing I will say is the girls were, wait, what was it? Hold on. She said, dang it just hit, Liz lost me. She said, it was about Jonathan Majors. It was from 2 episodes ago, not 1. Wait, that was our last episode, right? Was Jonathan Majors our last? What was our last episode?
No, Marvin's App.
Yeah, no, this one was from Jonathan Majors, but I can't. And I feel like as soon as I say it, I'm gonna get it. What do you have though? Because she told me something. It was really good too, actually. It was funny, but I can't remember.
I don't have much. I will say my niece called me the other day and she was asking me some advice. Middle school drama girl. She was like, "Do you have a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, I was like, "How you know?" I was like, "You can listen to it." I was like, "Actually, I don't know if you can listen to it. I mean, you can listen to it, but I don't know if it's age appropriate." She's like, "My mama was listening to it in a car." And I was like, "Is that Morgan?" I was like, "Oh." I do know I have a faithful listener, and that is Brittany. Maybe my cousin DeLorean too. But I do know I have my faithful listeners. And my friend said Tatiana and maybe Abigail said they listen to. So I was like, "Oh, I didn't say nothing." So
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding though. The people that do consistently listen to it and can prove it, because I'll be like, and then they'll say something, and I'm like, oh, for real? I'll be like, yeah. They won't say anything, but I told them actually, I'm actually okay with that because I want this to be such a staple in your life
right.
that
It's not a gimmick.
you know what I mean? Yeah, especially because I don't even really want you, you can come up to me and talk about it, but ultimately I wanted to feel like, oh, you were listening to it on Tuesday morning and it was conversational. And you don't pick up from conversations from Tuesday, so I'm okay with you if you don't pick it back up with me. Just give me them numbers. Just give me them numbers. That's what we want. So no, I actually like it because the again, when I remember it, I'm gonna be mad. But the fun that I had from a girl essentially was just kind of she just started casually going into what we were talking about. Huh?
Your sister? You was like, "'Cause we used to do a
Yes.
podcast." You was like, "Oh,
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And she was just good. But I can't remember what she said though, because she referenced something. That's why I was saying I wanted to recall. But anyway, yeah, she was like, yeah, and I was just like, ours, right? And she was like, yeah, and I was like, okay. So that was really cute. But we'll continue. We'll continue in it. We'll keep trying.
We will get our
We'll get our girls. We'll get our girls. We're coming to get you, girls. We're coming to get you.
So, entering into our conclusion heart segment. That's not what our new thing is.
What do
What's
you
our new
mean?
thing? Entering into our conclusion segment, speaking from the heart to the heart. Why does this matter to you?
This matters to me because, I mean, for the cliche reasons, I'm a therapist, so I need y'all to be well because if y'all not well, then I'm not doing my job. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think it matters because Black women have historically been denied wellness. And then to the degree that it has risen now as a concept that we should adhere to, now they're trying to make it even more unattainable to us because it's kind of correlated wellness with money. And so the more money you have, then you can do all the elaborate, expensive things that will bring you wellness. Join the $50 Pilates class, do, all of the things that cost an exorbitant amounts of money for a people group that have historically not had money, at least not relatively speaking. So at every turn of our lives or our existence in this country specifically, we've been left out of what it takes to try and sustain here thrivingly. To sustain here and thrive rather than just exist here. And that makes me sad. And so at every turn, I am so excited. Matter of fact, really quick, I'm so excited about all the conversations on the internet around wellness and Black women. I see all of it, and I'm glad that we can just offer ours into the zeitgeist too, because Black women on every corner inch of this planet, wherever you exist, pursue wellness relative to you, sissy. And what that means is internal stuff. You can check off the boxes later, but first, get you a therapist, work through your traumas, talk through vulnerability, figure out what vulnerability looks like and feels like. Feel, I can just put a period there, feel, F-E-E-L, actually feel, and don't run away from it. Find community that you can talk through those feelings with and be deep, knee deep in feelings and experiences and talk about your pain out loud. And that's cool and that's good. And then from there, y'all get done and go get your nails done. And then go take a book bath. And then go do yoga on the couch or whatever, right? Whatever it is after, whatever the outward manifestation of that internal work looks like, have at it, sis. Call me. I'll give you $10 on your nails. $10.
And then you might figure out that is getting one finger done.
It's $10. What were you about to say?
I was going to say they might figure out through their journey of wellness that they don't even like getting their nails done.
Right. Yeah. Whatever yours is.
But speaking from the heart to the heart, I think this conversation matters to me because I call myself a black women's wellness advocate, and just meaning that I truly believe that. Is that my connection messing up? Okay. Speaking from the heart to the heart, I call myself a Black woman wellness advocate, and that is simply meaning that I do believe that we can, as Black women, live well. And I honestly think, I was just thinking about this while you were talking, that if we are doing the internal work of figuring out like what is it that is not serving us, we might end up figuring out that we need to leave situations and leave people that are not serving us. And if we lean into community, that might be easier. I know that like for the reason why, and I don't want to relate this to like domestic violence, but like the reason why it's so hard to leave domestic violence relationship is because people are so interdependent on their partner, financially, emotionally, etc. And that's because their partner has probably essentially isolated them from their support system in their community. But if you lean more into community and you figure out, oh shoot, I got more people than whatever, right? I got more people to help me feel alive. I have people to make me feel like I can, even going back to the conversation we had before, you have people around you that are telling, last week's conversation that we've had, the people around you that are telling you that you are valuable. It might give you the ability or the confidence to step out and do the thing you've been wanting to do, right? If you have people around you that is telling you, go after promotion, it might give you the confidence to go after the promotion, right? So that's that part. But I do at a fundamental level believe that Black women, one, deserve to be well, and that they should be well, if they're and that they can be well. And if there is a people group that I'm gonna ride for, is Black women, and for them to have rest and for them to be well and for them to have pleasure and in every area of their life, and freedom and liberation and all the things. Yeah, that's why it matters to me.
Love it. Love it. Well, on that note, guys, this was fun. We love hanging out with you guys. Hopefully you equally love hanging out with us. And I hope you feel well or feel inclined to go pursue wellness, for real wellness, after this episode. And on that note, like, comment, subscribe, leave a message, all the things, whatever else it is, the things that we need you to do to engage with us. And we love you so much. Bye.